Hey everybody, Penny Freeman, Rockin' Free Live.
Travis Kolosinski.
And we're here with Torso.
That's right.
So
we'll
go
just
ahead,
go around and
introduce.
you guys, introduce yourselves.
I'll go first, I guess. Yeah. Are we cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Jeremy Kniffin, torso, bass,
You're Jeremy.
bassist.
I'm Eamon Torso, guitar, singer, composer.
Joel C6, drummer.
Woo.
And you're
Travis Kolosinski.
Oh,
I'm the interviewer.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hostess
I can't
with
carry
the
two in the
hostess.
bucket, all right? So I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys, man. Not
right.
for me.
All right, so these guys have a show tomorrow night. As you're seeing, we just showed the promo before we came live. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, go down to the rooms or Mortalized Productions is watching. Hey,
Oh, nice.
Adam.
Yeah.
How's it
going
going? So, so it's going to be down at the rooms, which is an amazing stage. And, from what I understand, everything's kind of been
They've revamped it so they can actually do. Have you guys been over there again yet?
No, but
No.
Mike told me quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
Mike told me what they did. They got rid of all the Show Me God branding stuff. So they're going to they blackened out everything.
Yep, all the Show Me God
So
stuff.
basically the room is available for any band to come in with their banners and their lighting,
Do their
with,
thing.
so
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty amazing actually.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I've been down there and he opened up the floor. Well, he did put seats in as opposed to just leaving open space. He did take out the swings and couches and so on. So it's,
Nice.
it'll be a whole lot better now for actual shows like tomorrow night and stuff. So
Well, that's exciting. So we'll be looking forward to us be doing more shows there.
Yeah.
we just got to sell tickets. Because, that's the only way we can do it. All right. So let's see. What should we start with? Let's start with, who wants to go first?
Any, miny, miny,
I have a
moe.
feeling Jeremy has something to say.
You're the question asker, so you go ahead.
Well, you're the new guy in the band. Let's start with
Yeah, so
you.
he has to go first. Yeah.
Pick.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I guess
So-
if you say so.
All right. Jeremy Kniffin. So you moved here from North Dakota to Arizona
How long ago?
about
About 2.5, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in November.
okay, so you came out here, you didn't really know anybody.
Didn't
You
know
hit the
anybody.
music scene. I
Yeah.
remember first time I met you was at Starlight, and it was during, oh gosh, was it Skullfest?
Should I interject? I think it was New Year's Eve when Empire Desire played. Maybe it wasn't. But
No, it was when Show and Tell was playing, because that was the
okay, that was New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
no.
No.
It was either
It was the next time I went to Starlight. So it was like a week or two after that. But either way, it was like early 2020 prior to COVID.
Yeah, okay, so that was Shredfest, I think.
Oh, that could be.
I don't
What's it
remember.
called? I don't
There was a
know.
lot of shit going on back then.
I think it was-
I was absorbing it all in.
I just remember Show and Tell was playing, and you were so impressed with them, and they made this little video or whatever, and they filmed you, and they're like, I don't even know if you knew who they were at the time. when
How
you were
old was he? 8
asking.
years old?
Yeah. Well, this is like a couple years ago.
This was just a couple of years
And
ago. This was right before COVID.
and Joel was filming, and David comes up and
I
he's
knew-
like, so what did you think about the band Show and Tell?
No, I knew that was them, but I was
Oh.
just playing along with it because for one, I had been drinking, so I didn't know if they were
Yeah.
but I turned into, I cut a pro wrestling promo.
Yeah, I was like,
I
so
turned into Hulk Hogan and
yeah,
cut
man,
Hulk
that's
Hogan
what I've been
off.
trying to tell you.
Because they were doing their little promo things. I was like, all right, we're gonna have
I
this
should have
up.
freaking.
I don't know where that's at.
Video in
That's
there.
out there on the Facebook
Yes.
someplace, in some way, shape, or form. But
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
should have
cool.
put it in here to be playing it right now because that would have been funny. But anyway, so that was my first encounter with Jeremy. First time I met him, and yeah, I was like, it was so fun, and I'm like, so yeah, cool guy. Anyway,
So you know he used to be a wrestler.
yes, I found that out,
Yeah.
you know,
Afterwards.
and then
Pretty
so
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go from pro wrestling to
Yeah, I did pro wrestling. Well, I mean,
Semi-pro?
Definitely something.
like pro wrestling, like
Like the bottom of pro
WWE
wrestling,
type
bottom
shit.
level.
But I wasn't in the WWE, but like that's how I gotta say it, because people are like, oh, you did UFC or like MMA. No, I
was
did
it
pro wrestling. I did like the
WWE?
Stone Cold Steve Austin shit, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, that kind of stuff, not
you-
the fucking Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz shit. Does that make sense?
So any names that anybody would know that you actually wrestled with? Like in that category, I guess.
That I actually had like a match with, like the most famous dude I had a match with was Lenny Lane, and people probably don't remember who he is. He used to be in WCW in like the late '90s.
Oh.
I know the name, but I couldn't
See,
picture the face.
my-
I've been to wrestling.
I had a
since
thing
was
going
kid,
on with
too.
Rhino,
That's
but
when
like we didn't
wrestling
have a
was wrestling
match.
back
Like
then,
he,
early days.
like Rhino, and people probably know who Rhino is. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, being a wrestling fan, as I grew up, I knew who all these guys were. So, like,
I
I had a little thing where I
WWE
like had to run to the ring and like save the day because he was getting jumped. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Well, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, you can say you did that with him. That's
Oh yeah, I got a
well,
picture of it. And
and
everything.
he's
I
still
remember.
current.
I
He's still
remember.
wrestling.
I think he might be. He was in the WWE here not too like a few years ago, but I remember like there was a point in time during that match, or the match was over. He was getting jumped, so I had to come like save the day. You know what I mean? and save him from the other two bad guys that were kicking his ass. And so I remember, helping him up and doing all that. And I said, hey, there's a camera right here. And I fucking grabbed his hand and put it up in the air and right at the camera. And it's funny, man. I never forget this. And it's something that I remember even like doing. It's something I remember just period, but like, especially doing this, like playing in a band and stuff, like I've never forgot what he told me backstage afterwards. He's like, hey man, I just want to tell you like, and I'll never forget it. He said, that was fucking good work right there. Like you were in tune with the camp, because that's what this business is about. And in my opinion, playing in a band is very similar because, you got to play
You gotta find the crowd.
yeah, who's really there and sometimes who's not there and this and that and a camera, like that stuff like matters, because if you're just like not paying attention to anybody else, why are they going to pay attention to you? You know what I mean? So
You got to interact.
yeah. So like I've never forgot him telling me that. I kind of went off on a little story there, but it's just something that
We
I
got
learned. I learned a lot from doing wrestling as far as like showmanship and all that goes. You know what I mean? So
Work in the crowd for sure.
yeah. I mean, in
A physical aspect too,
yeah, and just
and the mental.
working a crowd. People paid money to come see you, so you got to give them what they came for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if there's people that don't seem engaged, those are the people that you want to get engaged, and you got to do it somehow. You got to reach out and be like, hey, come here. You know what I mean? Like you got to do it. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Oh shit! Are you gonna play one of my old?
I mean, like trying to get on the like. So
Wow.
I had to go find some that I could screenshot. So I mean, it's like not even like the same person.
Yeah. I used
You know what
to
I
shit
mean?
in my head. Little kids would come up to like the merch table and shit, like after the show, right? We would have an intermission. We'd have like a 15-minute intermission, like halfway through, and I would fucking make a killing on t-shirts and 8x10s and fucking whatever the little ones I had. I had little ones and then I had big ones. But kids would always be like, you remind me of Stone Cold Steve Austin, because I literally shaved my head and had a goatee and I don't know. It is what it is.
And so now you went from wrestling, Mr. and now you're a bass player for Torso. How'd that? Now that's what we all want to know is how did that happen? Did you always want to be a musician, or how?
I never thought about it like ever. Like it's not something I ever thought about doing, which is weird. But I mean, I was always into music. Like even as a kid, like I mean, I had like one of those towers that had like CDs. It's like this tall, like full. Like I had like 300. I had a paper route in like 7th and 8th grade. And all I spent my money on was CDs, BMG and Columbia House. You know how I'm like one of the only. I'm like one of the only people.
So you still have debt, don't you?
No, I'm like one of the very few people that actually paid my fucking bill. And I'm just one of those people I don't like to be in debt. And I was like that as a kid too, so I actually paid my shit. And but I mean, I would order CDs, and I just like sit and listen to music. You know what I mean? And just like it's funny because I always would like point shit out to my friends and stuff. I'm like, listen to like I'd hear like things in music that like I'm like listen to that little like whatever the fuck instrument that is or whatever, because I didn't always just listen to metal, and I still don't. I listen to the vast majority of shit, but I'd like you hear that like that little rhythm, and people would be like, I never heard that before, and then like, how do you have an ear for that? Like I always had an ear for shit, and I never like paid attention to it in myself. It's really strange. Like in retrospect, I think about that shit a lot. But anyways, no. To answer the question, I never thought about playing anything, and I never played an instrument in my life until I moved to Arizona, and I didn't even do that until like
A couple of years ago now, right?
like 13 months. Well, technically probably about a year and a half, because I started to learn to play guitar, and then I was kind of getting frustrated with it. And Norman House from Empire of Desire gave me my first bass, and he's like, here, man, just play around with this and see what happens. And so I just kind of played around with it. And then Mike Reck gave me some lessons online. He gave me a little login. He's like, fucking happy birthday, even though it wasn't my birthday. And then after that, like, I'm kind of getting ahead because I should rewind for a minute and tell this little part of it. So what motivated me to go that route in the first place, to learn guitar and all this and that? I mean, I was always going to shows, and like I did this like back home too. I would drive to Minneapolis, 10 hours there, go to a concert, and drive 10 hours back the next day. And I would stay in a hotel. It would cost me like $400 to stay in a hotel room, the gas, this and that, the fucking beer, you know, like it was a good time though, you know, like, because in North Dakota where I live, we didn't get shit, you know what I mean? So I would do that and go to Minneapolis, and I met a lot of people out there, but I still never thought about playing anything. I just was like a concert
Just
goer.
a fan.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I'd get in the pit and shit. I was jumping in the pits and just, you know what I mean, doing all that fun stuff. And so anyways, when I started going out to shows down here, like people would always ask me, like the first show I went to was Death Angel at Club Red in 2019, like December something 2019. And like one of the first things that somebody asked me was like,
Your band?
like, who do you play with? And I'm like, I don't. They're like, you don't? Well, you should, man. Look at you, you know. And I heard that shit over and over again as I went to shows. And like eventually, like I'm tired of hearing this shit, man. And like, you know, I was hanging out pretty heavily with Ken and Tulin and Empire Desire and Sectus. Like those are some of the first people that I met when I moved here. So I like became really tight with them. So whenever I would go to shows, that's who I would gravitate to. And I just like, that was our crowd, you know. And like, they're all talking music, and I'm like, I'm listening, but I'm like, I'm not like, I'm not on the same page. Like I am, but I'm not, as far as like, so like, that didn't really motivate me, but I knew that was like a side part of it. Like, oh, I'm going to like be on a different level, so to speak, as far as like in tune with like
What you're
Fit
talking
in,
about.
like,
yeah. I
conversation.
mean, and like hearing it from everybody, it kind of motivated me. And it's weird because I didn't like ever think about it. It just happened. And then as I was now to get back to the lessons and this and that, so I started playing bass, and I was doing lessons, and I'd take little fucking pictures and this and that. And never really did any video and stuff, which I don't know why. I just never have. But I always took pictures, you know. And I met Eamon, I think the first time maybe at the 44. I can't remember, but he had just moved back from Seattle, right? And you know, we had met a couple times, and then like maybe like the third or fourth time, you know, we had become friends on Facebook, and he had seen that I had been posting, you know, bass shit pictures and whatever. And,
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
playing
like,
bass basically.
yeah, like, you know, my fingers are all indented with this string. You know, I'm taking like these you know, whatever the fuck. And then he started asking me, he's like, yeah, and then he's like, hey, I'm gonna get my band going back together. And I'm like, dude, I just started like learning how to play bass like a month and a half ago. Like, I'm not ready for all that. And then every time I see him, he'd be like, "Hey man, I'm really gonna get it back going. Like, and I want you to be my bass player." I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man, but I'll keep you in mind." That's what I kept telling him. And it's not that I didn't take it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't take it seriously at first. I was like, "Oh, this is cool, man." Like everybody's like, "Put the guitar down. You're having trouble. Pick up the bass. You'll be in a band in fucking no time." I'm like, I don't really want to play in a band. I'm like,
Doing it for my.
I mean, I'm just kind of doing it, yeah, to say that I can do it, to understand music and learn something. It was, it was COVID season still, so it was like, I go home and I fucking do nothing anyways. It's like play video games and shit, which I don't even do anymore. It's kind of funny how this is like taking over my life, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. Anyways,
I can relate to that.
but I mean, I'm eventually it got to the point where I'm like, what did it for me is he had been asking me over and over again, and which is cool. Like I had no issues with that. It's not like I was against it, but I wasn't thinking of it on a serious basis. I'm like, I'll come over, man. I'll come over. I will. Just when I'm ready, man. I'll come over and like.
Well, I
I'll
remember him
sit
telling me,
down
"So
and-
I'm just a beginner, dude." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I did ask a couple times, and then the second time he said I'm just a beginner, I'm like, well, if you learn a whole full set of music, you won't be a beginner anymore."
Right.
And then we booked the show at the Marquee,
Yeah.
and so I'll let you finish your story.
Yeah, and that's actually where I was going next. I mean, because we were going to shows at the 44 and Starlight, this and that, and I'd always see him. This is back when we had to wear our fucking mask still and all that shit. I mean, that was around that time frame where that was kind of starting to go away too. And anyways, so they booked the show this last Halloween, the night before Halloween, with "Blessed Be Thy Name"
And Pelvic Meatloaf.
and Pelvic Meatloaf,
Fatal
and,
Melody.
Yeah.
and
That was a great
they didn't
show.
have a bass player
Yeah.
yet, and when I went to that show and I just like that's where it clicked, because I watched and I'm like,
They need a bass
and all I
player.
thought about was I just saw that empty space and I'm like, if I would have quit procrastinating, I'd be up there right now. And I'm
And your
like,
first show to be at the Marquee
Yeah,
would have been,
instead
yeah, man. I mean, and the thing is like, I was like, now it's time to start taking this shit seriously. I'm ready to I just got to commit to like a day to come over.
Yeah.
And then little did I know, he literally lives like right down the fucking street from me. It's so crazy. So
Your first show was at the Rooms where y'all are playing tomorrow.
Right. Yep.
And the place was packed. I think we have a picture of you playing for that.
Oh yeah, you guys fucking live streamed the whole show, which is fucking killer, man. Like,
Yeah.
that was good
Your
video,
mom
and it
was
sounded
watching.
good. I don't know
She's
what
so
you recorded that
proud.
with, but it sounded good.
Right
It's
here.
hard. It's hard. You got a good phone, man. It's hard to capture something like that as close as you were without it, like the sound like distorting out and this and that. It
Yeah,
sounded
it's a little
great.
hot because we were loud.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know you guys were having issues getting things going at first, I think, because it was like long.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Okay, I'll go. My name is Joel.
Well,
Yeah,
first,
I
think he just said,
I've been-
"Shut up, Jeremy."
I've been talking everybody's ear off. Pretty
I know it. We got
which is so
questions
funny.
now, so hold on a
Joel
second.
Ceasons, I'm a drummer for Torso.
So
Should we save
Adam-
those for the end and let these other guys speak, and then we'll roll back? Or do you want to not get too buried in the comments? I don't want to like burn up all
well,
the
I
time.
think because it has to
Have
do
we got all
with.
night?
Okay, cool. Let's.
Let me
You're the
just-
boss.
okay.
You run the show.
But because it pertains to what you've been talking about. So
For
like,
sure, makes sense.
What Adam Asbell is asking, what is your favorite wrestler? Or-
I mean,
take her.
the thing is like I can't just pick one, but I'll pick a couple.
I can.
And I'll pick a couple in different states of mind and different ages of mind, if that makes sense. So like obviously I was born in 1982, so like Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior were like
Macho
the
Man.
shit, right? Now as an adult, I look back and they were, well, I mean, Hulk Hogan wasn't the shits, but the Ultimate Warrior was just absolute fucking garbage. And it kind of pains me to say that, but I'm being honest. Like he didn't love the business. He hated it. He used it to get money. And he basically like, I was going to say something that I'm glad I didn't say because somebody probably would have got offended, but he pillaged the fucking business and got the fuck out, and then like felt like the business owed him everything and he didn't pay his dues, in my opinion.
No, that's funny.
Lots of
All
wrestlers
the interviews
in
and
the
stuff I
business,
read of,
Lots of
that's
wrestlers
exactly-
in
yeah.
the business will say the same thing. There isn't a lot of people that will speak highly of him. That doesn't take away the fact that I still looked up to him as what he was, because my character in wrestling was about 65 to 70% Ultimate Warrior as far as the character goes. But as I grew up, you know, like
The Savage.
the Savage. Yeah, as I grew up, I mean, I loved Macho Man Randy Savage, and I did back then
Sting.
too. Sting is one of my all-time favorites.
Still wrestling too.
Sting is one of my
That
all-time
was
favorites.
mine too.
Bret the Hitman Hart, you know, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I like Stone Cold Steve Austin before he shaved his head and was Stone Cold Steve Austin. When he had
Stunning
long
Steve
blonde hair,
Austin.
stunning Steve Austin, tag teamed up with Brian Pillman in WCW. Like, those are some of my favorite people. I mean, The Rock's cool and shit. He was over as hell, and he put asses in seats and blah blah blah. But like, I didn't like the cockiness that he came from. I like the cockiness that Stone Cold Steve Austin came from.
I like
the way
better as an
Macho Man
actor.
Randy Savage would talk. I like how Macho Man Randy Savage would talk and like, you know, like tell a story and blah blah blah, like get to the point, but like the build up, and then the, you know, and then there was somebody else too, and now it kind of.
That's why I like CM Punk. CM Punk's always been my
But you know, like Big Van Vader was one of my favorites. I can't like just name one favorite. I love Big Van Vader. When I first started wrestling, I wore a blue Vader mask, and I think I still have it, to be honest with you. A
Hey,
Big
so
Van
that comes
Vader
up to
mask.
right here then. I think you also perform wearing wait, what was it?
Where you're wrestling.
Yep.
Dress up as wrestlers.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe someday. I always joke about I'm gonna wear a Speedo on stage at the next show, and like,
All
but it's
right.
just a joke. You know what I mean?
One more question, and then that's it. What's your favorite song?
Like
Just what's your favorite song?
any song.
Any song.
Torso song?
This is
It could be any band. Any
Man, I can't pick a favorite song, but I'll give you a favorite album of mine. Is David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. To be honest with you, like that might blow people's mind, but that's God honest truth, man. That fucking album is amazing. It's a masterpiece, and like I can listen to it over and over again and just like get lost.
I tried to watch the documentary.
It's fucking great.
The other
I don't know
day,
what it is
I couldn't
about
get
it, but
into
it's
it.
just like people, because I got a huge ass vinyl collection, and people always ask me like, "What's your favorite record in your vinyl collection?" I'm like, David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, man. It's the first one that comes to mind, and I've got many. But I mean, a favorite song. I love so much different types of music. I have fucking Miles Davis albums. You know what I mean? Jazz, like that would blow people's mind. Like, holy shit, you listen to fucking John Coltrane and this and that.
I
I
Ray
do,
Charles,
man. I listen to
you know?
fucking gangster rap from the '90s, man. Like I do. I still this day will listen to fucking Snoop Dogg Doggy Style. Like I don't give a fuck, man. You know what I mean? There's shit in there. There's rhythms in there that literally I've learned some Snoop Dogg songs on bass when I'm by myself. I haven't really put that out there, but now I have for everybody to know. Like I do. And there's lots of fucking Southern rap songs that actually used actual bass, not machines and shit, on the fucking beats for some of the songs. A lot of Memphis rap did that and blah blah blah. But anyways, I'm not
Your
trying
20
to get down
minutes
on-
is up.
Yeah.
You're 20 minutes of fame.
I don't want to talk anymore.
I don't want to.
All right, let's move on.
All
Joel.
right, Joel Cecich, drummer for Torso. A lot of history in the Valley here. Played with Rip and Tear, Arsenal, and Torso, and Alien Sex Source, another band, ASS. Been drumming my whole life and love it still to this day. And that's it.
That's your
My
story.
favorite record is Rush Hemispheres.
What's your favorite song?
Favorite song.
Your favorite wrestler?
Interesting,
No.
that one, huh?
I didn't, yeah.
I'm starting to like a lot of the Elvis stuff.
I should've.
It's creeping up. Elvis has got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's by hands down the best ever.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
did?
pretty accurate. Looked pretty real.
Really?
I haven't
I haven't
seen it
seen it
yet.
yet either.
Oh, it's off. It's
Where's
off
this
the
movie
chart.
at? Is it
At the
new?
movie theater.
Oh,
It's on
shit.
online.
It's called
You can get it
Elvis.
online.
I'll have to check it out.
It's on Prime.
Is it on Prime
I
yet?
think so.
Oh, good.
It was on one of my things I was flipping through.
As long as
I saw
it isn't
so.
like $20 to watch it. But yeah, I want to see it. Actually,
Yeah,
when
it's off the charts. It really is a good movie.
we
It's
went
one of
to we had to take Victor, to go to his birthday movie first, Jurassic Park. When we went into the movie theater, there was people in there, like they had a watch party, and what Kate did?
Kit.
Oh,
Is what he meant to say.
so anyway, the people that were in there
Mhm.
was actually the family of the guy that played Elvis.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they were having a watch party or something in there, and so I was like, oh, that was kind of interesting. I mean, and of course, then we got booted out while they could clean the theater. But it was kind of cool that,
Mhm.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was the cousin or something.
It just reminds you, he is the king.
Yeah,
Adam
yeah, that
wants
was
to
pretty
know,
good.
what drum kit do you use?
I have a Pearl export from the 80s
Wow.
with an aerial tom.
Hi, Bill. I know you're watching. It's like, Bill, every show. You gonna bring your whole drum kit? Yes, we're bringing the whole drum
Trimming it
kit.
down.
Whoops. And what's your favorite drink?
I never did answer the favorite song though. I
Oh.
answer that.
Oh yeah. Go.
Yeah. Highway to Hell.
That was actually one of the first songs that got me into metal.
Yeah.
Listen to AC/DC way back.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Great
Yeah.
album. It's one of the best, really. One of the best.
People are
albums
just
ever.
getting on here just to say, whoa, whoa, where's my
Fucking Dasher. What's up, Dasher?
We just wonder what they would become with.
Hey, Dasher, I don't mean to like
I know.
flip this up again, but Dasher is one of the first people I met. Not one of, he is the first person I met, had a conversation with on Facebook my second day here. Because this chick that I know from back home that lives in Flagstaff hooked us up on Facebook. Like, you guys got to be friends. You guys are into the same shit, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I hit him up on Facebook. I'm like, dude, I don't know you, but hey, what's up? Like, and fucking, he plays in Empire Desire, and I roadie for those guys, along with doing, what I do now. But, like, that, they, like, it's just crazy, man. It's just every little, like, piece of the puzzle is just, like, it's just
Everything fell into place when you
It's
came to
fucking awesome.
Arizona.
It's awesome.
So that-
I love it here.
that's
And I
cool.
know.
Annette?
Oh, that's my mom. Is my mom on that? Oh, nice.
Oh, is she on YouTube? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, it ain't showing up in here. But all right, you guys kill, man.
So I joined Torso about a year
Hey.
ago.
Okay.
I joined Torso about a year ago. And me and Eamon have a big history, long history in Arsenal
Mhm.
from the 90s, 90s.
90s. Yeah, we were in a band together in 94 called Arsenal with Johnny Frankenshred, Del Sheridan, and Dave Pevler was on bass on that one. But yeah, it was quite the education. I was like 26 years old at the time.
Wow.
And so
It was
we
your first
met.
band, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my first band, and we were surrounded like the first week that I met these guys. I think we went up to Cave Creek to for Dell to give Sonny Barger a custom motorcycle,
Right.
and we ended up like in Cave Creek. Electric Pickles played that night, which is the other project that Flotsam would have to use when Brian Schlegel from Metal Blade Records wouldn't let him use Flotsam on a bill. So
Oh, I
they played
remember
up there.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
They played up there as the Electric Pickles. So Flotsam played that night. I'll never forget that. I was like very, very young when I first met these guys, and he was we're about the same age, right?
I'm a little older than you.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than I am, and Del was much older than I was. But yeah, so these guys more or less brought me up in
Yeah.
the music industry. That was my first time on the stage. Was
It's good
Joey,
stuff. It's good stuff.
yeah.
Mhm.
So 94.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting ready to say something about Torso. Sorry.
No, I was going to say something about Arsenal, but it still
Oh.
holds up today. The music is still good, solid.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Is there any albums out for that?
Arsenal was it's a local legendary thing. There's three. We actually produced 2 albums together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
And I had 2 CDs or 1 CD with them,
yeah, and we did another one separate.
Cool.
but
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. Yeah. And it's a long history. It's a big full circle that we're dealing with right now for almost all of us. Like we've all been through a certain down a certain path to bring us all together at this certain place at the same time. And Chris, the member that's not here, Chris Adderhold, is also an old school brother of all of us. The 3 of us known each other since about 1992, I'd say. So what, 30 years?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely got a strong history.
Yeah. That's good.
I like Ronnie James Dio too a lot. He's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorites. I don't think they make him any better.
Yeah, our sound guy for Arsenal was Gary Dulac, who was the engineer on the Mob Rules album and Live Evil album, and he's really close with Dio. So like he was good friends with Joey at the time. So
Mhm.
basically, the sound guy for Arsenal just came off of Dio, and so like it was quite a can say it quite right.
Adventure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or for my second show ever live was opening up for Sabotage at the Roxy.
Yeah.
This guy
Wow.
and Johnny.
We opened up for Ace Frehley at the Mason Jar.
Yeah, Scott Rowe was there for that one. Scott Rowe opened up. Yeah, that was, so Scott Rowe and his Alice Cooper tribute
Yeah. That's
and
right.
Ace Frehley that night at the Mason Jar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
No, you had another question?
Jeez. Well, did you grow up here in the valley?
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. I moved here from Chicago when I was 9.
oh wow.
So I grew up here.
That's like being a native.
I was here when there was no roads. There was only dirt roads and stuff.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah.
Like back like Deer Valley, there was nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's like we used to go ride our bikes in the gullies.
I lived out on
In the ravines.
67th and Happy Valley,
Oh, that was yeah.
and there was nothing
No.
out there. Yeah.
It flooded probably there, didn't it?
Hmm?
It flooded a lot, didn't it? There were was it like Union Hills underwater?
Yeah, that, and then of course I was off, like, well, anywhere further, or going down, like, I think it was like Deer Valley Road or Joe Max, or not Joe Max.
Frank Lloyd, right?
No,
No.
I can't even think of the names of the roads out there anymore. It's been so long. I lived out
The
there when
other
I was in
Valley
high
Road.
school.
Yeah.
Pinnacle Peak. Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
one. I'm like, what is it? Yeah, Pinnacle Peak is the one
Yeah.
that always flooded out there back then. So, yeah, and now it's like all built up, and
Yeah. It's all fixed now.
yeah.
But I remember like at one time a Volkswagen got caught over the drain on the underpass. And it filled all the way up to the top. And people were swimming in it. It was like we were crazier back then.
Yeah. Oh, the parties. I remember one time. Well, we had 5 acres, and I had a little, like, my parents had their.
That's a
house,
party
and
right there if you got 5 acres.
Right?
Yeah. And then there was like a little camp trailer that we had, so I would stay in that because I wanted to like have my own place, whatever. So in the middle of the night, I hear someone yelling for help or something, and I look out, and over in the neighbor's yard, you could see somebody standing out there, and I was like kind of freaked out. So I run in, to the parents, and my dad's out there with a shotgun,
Oh yeah.
like,
Sure.
come over here. So the guy was basically, his hands were taped up, duct tape. And so I guess, I don't know what happened, but I mean,
So he was escaping from somebody or something?
I think somebody dropped him off in the middle of the desert barefoot,
Wow.
taped him up.
Yeah.
And he walked, I don't know, probably from like Happy Valley or something, and made it up to, he was just trying to get up to the house where there was lights or whatever. And so he was yelling for someone to come out, and
cut him free.
Yeah.
So he could cut you up.
but he had, the guy, whoever took him and dumped him in the desert, had stabbed him.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and
So-
stabbed him in the leg.
Yeah.
And so my dad's like, "Oh, Louis, take your pants
Call the
off."
sheriff.
Drop your pants and said to show him, and so then my dad ended up calling for,
Right.
cops or whatever to come out there and everything. So yeah, I don't know what the deal was. So who knows? Maybe they're watching this. Yeah. They'd be like, "Hey, that story sounds familiar." But yeah, I think something to do with, maybe it was his daughter the guy was dating, and he didn't, something happened, and he.
Sounds like a true crime show.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he could have. I think he just left him out there for dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was barefoot, and all that cactus and crap out there walking around in the desert. Yeah, crazy stuff happened out there. So anyway,
Kevin
so
Ozzy, sorry.
Introduce yourself.
hey, Kevin Ozzy. Okay. I'm gonna talk about when you started Torso. Talk about the meaning behind Torso, your book, and when Halford called you and asked you to open for him, and that crazy night at Boston.
Well, there's
right,
enough for you to
wow.
go on.
He makes it easy.
Oh wow! Well, you know what? You had most of my questions right there. So
Well,
anyway,
sum my up.
yeah.
Oh, I have to say, Joey was also in a very popular band, Rip and Tear. I mean,
Mhm.
when he was growing up here, I mean, that was
Yeah.
his first big band here
Right.
in the valley too. So
Yeah,
there's a big deal.
Solar Angel, Black Mariah.
Yeah, it's a big
Never
deal.
heard of
You
it.
know, like 80s, late
Yeah.
80s.
Well, Rip and Tear, I do remember
Yeah.
that one because I would see the flyers all over.
I played with Kirk Resnick too for a year.
Yeah.
Funk Junkie singer.
There you
Oh,
go. I was like, I know the name. but-
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I have to. Well, okay.
Where'd it start?
Joey and I started talking about a year or 2 years ago
Yeah.
when I was planning on coming back from Seattle, and we were just like talking about it, you know, like, and he had, in the meantime, since Arsenal has written how many songs?
Probably 30.
No, how many songs have you like?
Oh, me?
Yes, have you written
600.
600 songs? No, wait. Here I am in Seattle renovating my home, trying to like get to know him again, you know, reconnect with him. And he's sending me a song, 4 or 5 songs a day. Check this out. Check this out. And I get this message from Johnny. And right after he asked me if I was one of those Antifa, and that we shoot first and ask questions later. That's why he's like, "You're not one of those Antifa, are you?" So I get this thing from Johnny. He's like, and I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Has Joey been like sending you all this music?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." It's like, I mean, I really don't have the time to listen to all of it, but yeah, it's, wow, 600 songs. He's a very prolific.
That is-
Yeah, no,
Wow.
for real. And everything from like Frank Zappa to like these really crazy, like glitchy, chopped up sample pieces that are just like
Yeah,
quite amazing to
totally
me.
unique. Yeah.
So the songs that you've written, are they songs that are other bands that are singing now, or
No,
are they
they're
stuff,
all
stuff that
my
you've
gig,
done?
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's stuff he's been producing.
they're
over the
recorded
last
really
years.
high quality recordings, so I think they stand up to anything. They're
He
good.
plays all the
Nice.
instruments, guitars, bass, vocals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's just me. Actually, it was me and another guy. Me and one other guy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it's kind of an experience.
So yeah, his addition to this album that we're getting ready to produce is going to be very valuable. So.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely.
That's so awesome.
All
Alright.
right, so back to Kevin's thing.
All right,
So
so
Kevin and I met. No, so I talk about Torso. All right, so we started Torso in '96. Arsenal split up in '95-ish, you know, going on '96, and I decided to start something else with David Dotson. David Dotson is the singer of AZDZ.
Yep.
oh, okay.
And Reed Smith. And then we went and scalped 2 other players from another band and called Legion 13. And the 2 other members was Greg Fleetwood, was the original drummer for Torso, and John Boggs was the guitar player for Legion 13. Now the singer for Legion 13 is Norm from Versus All.
Versus All, yeah.
So I got to hang out with Greg, and Norm was the last Friday night over at the Coops out on the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hung out with Greg Fleetwood, who, if anybody knows, he's like been in a couple bands with Norm along the way as well. But long story is that so Dave Dotson and I were pretty much just trying to figure it out. You know, our heroes in town were like N17 and Black House Twins, and you know, and of course Pelvic Meatloaf. These were our peers, you know, and all the big bands were still like rolling at that time. Flotsam, Sacred Reich, you know, Power was just getting started with Greg Hall's side project Power starting, you know, they practiced right next door to us. Soulfly was starting across from us. So we all of a sudden were like just rolling with it, you know, for years. I met Kevin before that, Kevin Ozzy from I Don't Know and from Book of Numbers. I met Kevin through Tracy Kimbrell, his guitar player in a band called Sanctions. And I went to school with Tracy Kimbrell, and before I met anybody, I came down here in 1992 to go to Mesa Community College as a vocal music major, and I was Tracy was in school with Tracy. And I don't know if you guys know Tracy Kimbrell. He's a teacher over at the Music Stories and Sanctions, and he's a well-known player in town. You know, he actually is one of the biggest players in town. And so I met Kevin through Tracy and a backyard party, some Sanctions show and some backyard party. And then it wasn't much longer after that we got. I became friends with JJ from the bass player from Fight, Rob Halford's Rob Halford's band Fight. And JJ was a tattoo artist for Kerry King, Rob Halford, all of Rob's tattoos, and quite a few other people. So I really, and JJ had another band at the time called SIL, which is stands for Satanic Industries Limited, which is a huge band. It became just this monster of a band with, Josh Ebner was the drummer for that band. Josh was also in Black House Twins and produced Torso's first album, ironically, quite a bit later. But I'm rambling. To Kevin's, like if I was to paraphrase the highlight of Torso, like growing up in the 90s here during the Arizona metal scene, I was also a stagehand. So I was on every single stage that came through town, and I'd always wear my Torso shirt, almost at all the Ozfest. I mean, we did the Black Sabbath reunion show on 1999 when I was standing on the side of the stage, and Ozzy points at my T-shirt that says Torso on it. And I get out there to plug Ozzy's microphone and be like, "Hey man, what's up, dude?" It was just like that Arizona metal, just like we were so into it. I was on every single stage for Pantera, Slayer, Ozfest, everything you can imagine, and I represented Torso the whole time. And so, like with that said, it was what a great way to grow up. I mean, these were my peers. All of everybody. So JJ asked me if we produced a cassette tape over at Michael Vane's studios. Michael Vane, by the way, was a good friend of Rob's, and JJ introduced me to Rob Halford one night at a show, at SIL show. And he said, "You got a cassette?" And I'm like, "I do." And I gave him a cassette. It was a chrome cassette tape that at that time I was in cassette duplication with Johnny, got me my first rock and roll job doing CD and cassette duplication in town. So I also had my hands on everybody else's stuff. I was really into it. It was my first rock and roll job before staging. And anyway, so I give Rob the cassette tape, and a week later I get a phone call, and my ex-wife said, "Eamon, Rob Halford's from Judas Priest is on the phone, and he wants for you." I'm like, "No way. No.
Is it April?
So for real, and I answered the phone back in the day when there were real phones still attached to the wall.
Do you kids even know what that means?
Yeah, right. Like, this is still only 1997, right? And cell phones were extremely expensive, but yeah. So I get a call from Rob, and he loved our cassette tape, a 3-song sampler that we Torso did the first lineup with Dave and Reed and Greg and John and I did. Dave and I used to spend hours trying to figure out sampling and trying to get as many samples in our songs as possible, and we just really wanted to be more than just metal. And my Greg built me a 5-sided cage, so I was notorious for bringing a cage to every show, and he built all this metal works for to cover up the amps and the drum risers and stuff. And so I sang in a cage. It became quite a thing where Rob asked me if we would open up for a benefit show at the Mason Jar for the Child Crisis Center or something, that all the money proceeds were going to a benefit, and asked if we would support them. So we got to directly support Fight at the Mason Jar for this benefit show, and he invited all the other rock stars. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Alice Cooper was there that night. I know Kerry was there. Kerry King from Slayer was there.
At that time, he lived here.
Yeah, he was living here, and Dave Mustaine made an appearance, but he was very, very, very like in and out because he also lived here at the time.
Yeah.
And but I'll never forget that. I met Kevin Ozzy. I became really good friends with Kevin Ozzy that night, by the way. I'm leading up to something here.
I was like, he
So-
sure knows a lot about you.
We get shoved in front of Scott Travis's drum kit because we're playing in front of Scott Travis from Judas Priest's Fight. And so like my cage got bumped out on the subwoofers. So they put me on the subwoofers in my 5-sided cage, and I decided to wear an all, just a total gimp outfit. It was just this one-piece bodysuit with no face and a zipper for a mouth, right? And I had all this crazy stuff in my cage, all these strobes and all that good stuff. So we're ready for put on a show, and I come up off the floor like a shadow figure, like in this cage, and I have a megaphone strapped to my back, and I have a regular microphone in my other hand. I have all this stuff going on, and I see Kevin Ozzy standing right in front of my cage. And he had his hands on both hands on my cage like this, and he's like, "Shit, get in my cage!" Like he's just like rattling my cage, literally. Kevin Ozzy, from you, rattled my cage. The first time we ever became friends with him, and my knees were already wobbly anyway. I look out through the mask; I could barely see through this mask, right? And I'm looking out. I could see Rob and standing next to Kerry King for sure. I could definitely see both of them standing there watching our show. So like, I'm nervous. Fuck, man. And my knees are wobbly. I'm standing out there in this like completely exposed with the full on like bodysuit with like nothing else, and then Kevin starts rattling my cage, but he knew every word to the song we had called No Jones, which is basically shut the fuck up. About 57 times I say that during the song, right? So the song is like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, He sang along with me the whole time. Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. And he never let me down, dude. He was at every single Torso show. Kevin Ozzy also got me into the movie industry. So like he brought me over to Dead Alive Productions and Ideal Media Marketing, which was the biggest independent movie distributor in the Southwest. And they were like selling to mom and pops all around the world. As far as distributing goes, I had people on the phones, a big phone room, and they got our music on a couple soundtracks. Suspension soundtrack with Joey Strange when they started hanging people from meat hooks out of their backs for fun. People started doing this. And the first time you ever seen it on video, Torso's music's all over it, right? So here we are. So Kevin's hooking me up with all this stuff left and right. We did a Guinness Book of World Records, a show at the Nile Theater for body suspensions and tattoo and body suspensions and Torso stickers on all the carousels. It was great. But Kevin ended up talking me into coming down there to sell movies because I was starving to death as a stagehand. And Kevin Ozzy basically got me like down there to like sit on the phone and try to pitch movies to mom and pop stores on the phone. Hey man, I got Camp Blood 1, 2, and 3, and here we go. And that's what kind of started it with Kevin and I. He was top dog salesman there. Had been for years. And the first time around, I didn't last but 2 weeks. I had to quit. I sucked at sales. And then I came back and he pretty much showed me how he would do it. And then I figured out how I would do it. And I started doing it. And they started giving me good leads. I made a living. So a year later, we get some help from a friend, Alan Allgood. At this point in time, this is Torso 002. Some members had changed. So we lost Greg and John. Dave and Reed started doing their own thing. So I got Seth Mayer in the band and a few other people just started fresh. And before I know it, this guy gave us some money to help us out and get us going. And we kind of built this rehearsal studio down in the basement of this Ideal Media Marketing. And I actually had a way to actually make money off. Instead of all the money that this guy gave us, instead of going in the studio and blowing out t-shirts and stickers and all that good stuff, we decided to buy a bunch of gear and try to learn how to record this stuff ourselves. And I pitched it to the owners that I could be their video editing guy, post-production guy. So overnight, we learned Pro Tools, post-production, and I turned over a period of 3 years, and Kevin was there. I changed their VHS market to DVD market. So I got all the skills. I captured all their master tapes for all their films, 250 feature films later, working with all the box art, everything you can imagine. So, and Kevin, was there, and that's how we became really close. Now he wants me to tell the last part of the story with Kevin Ozzy, a part of association with Torso. At Boston's, we were doing a show, and the big stage is like Industrial Manifesto. Back in the day, the guys over at Boston's would just give us the whole place and just say, okay, book a night. and do whatever you want. There's 2 stages, a big stage outside and an inside stage. So we started how we maximize that. We do 8 bands, $8. 4 bands on the outside stage, 4 bands on the inside stage. So it became quite successful. The first time we did a show there, it was like over 1,000 people there. So like you do the math, you know, there's a lot of money on the table, like, and everybody got paid, and there's a lot of new bands that came up, like Jonah Faree's band, Iconoclast, and Hardwire, a lot of electronic bands, because we wanted it to be more than just metal acts. And so we were giving that up for a lot of the bands that came up here. We were in a position to start doing bigger shows there. So long story, we did a big show that night, and Kevin was there, of course, and I'll never forget I don't know what set him off, but I see the pit just going crazy. It was a really big night. I had some chick dancing in the cage way up above the drummer in the back. Everything's just going on. Some guy's destroying a torso with a tire iron off to the side, like this, like mannequin, torso mannequin. He's killing it off to the side. And I see Kevin just running through the pit and just screaming torso, or shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. And he grabs the full garbage can as he's going through the pit. As he passes by the full garbage can, he picks it up and keeps going, and he slings it out into the crowd and just lets it go and just blam, annihilates everybody around him. And then the security guards start like, you know, what the fuck just happened? There's bottles just going everywhere, just like chaos, right?
Wow.
And he keeps going. He's just like crashing into the pit. So the security guys get a hold of him finally somehow. And I didn't miss a beat during my song though. I remember singing the song and just kind of smiling, going, "Wow, that happened." And so I'm trying to stay in character, right? And then they're like trying to grab him, and like, he was trying to squirm out of it. And I can't remember how they ended up deciding two dudes to grab him by his upper half, and then the other dude to grab him by his feet to escort him out of the building, literally like this. Kevin Schumacher.
Wow.
You. Sorry, you. As he's going out the door, they're walking him out the door, and they took him out feet first for some reason, and he grabs a hold of the door.
Oh, shit.
And I'll never forget this. I'm singing halfway through the song, and I'm pointing at it, going like this, and he like pulls himself back in the door, and I see his head go, "Torso!" And then whoop, he's gone, right? So this is the same guy.
Oh my god! Wow, there's a whole other side.
No, Kevin Schumacher, one of my best brothers in the entire world. I never lost contact with him. He would call me in the middle of the night and sing an entire Ozzy song, a cappella, word for word, from beginning to end. And I put him on speakerphone, so everybody else could hear it in the room. So yes.
Wow.
So
He's all there he is. Shut the fuck
up.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Oh boy, yeah, wow.
Oh my god.
So Torso is
He's
kind of
probably been
phenomenal.
typing that out through the whole time you were telling
You
this whole story.
probably did the voice to chat.
Oh,
voice
yeah.
to text.
I don't know, can you do that on here?
No,
Wow.
I mean, that was what we all lived and breathed it. I mean, we all grew up together, learning how to do it together. We all, like I was having this conversation with Rich from Pelvic Meatloaf about how phenomenal it is that we are still doing what we're doing. We love to do, and same with, like all my peers, all my brothers. I'm very blessed to be able to not only reconnect with people, and the new connections are priceless, but the reconnections, that's what Torch is all about right now. We were really, we've only been playing for like 6-8 months, seriously, 8 months, and here we go. It's all like starting all over again.
So let me ask, so in comparison to then Torso and the Torso now, what has changed?
Experience, definitely, for sure. I learned how to play guitar. That's changed. Yeah, I mean, I always have to rely on everybody else to kind of help me get all these thoughts out of my head and turn them into music. And that's the truth. I mean, without those guys, without these actual real musicians, I would have, not been able to do that. I was taught how to do that by my friends and the people that.
As far as stage,
Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, it's been a weird transition personally. Torso kind of revamp back in October. Back in the fall with our shows in the fall with Show Me God and at the Marquee with Blessed and Pelvic and Fatal Melody and all them. That was, I don't even know how to explain this. I mean, back then we were young, we had a lot of energy. We did not give a shit. I mean, I repainted that cage probably 7 times. That's how much energy I had. I would just paint it a different color.
Just for a show.
Yeah, just for a new show. We were always on this. I was really attracted to, the law of attraction brought me within a whole different creative, a bunch of filmmakers and a bunch of young, some of my favorite people like Kat Bell. She's the bass player from Element A440 and all of them. Jonah, I mean, everybody's so creative. And now we're all grown up. Like Mike from Show Me God, he's like the most creative person I know in the entire world. I mean, look at that place. Look what he's done with his life. But he was also there back in the day. I've known Mike for that quite a while since back then too. What has changed outside of experience? Nothing for me personally. I still get excited. I still driven and motivated to get my outfit ready for the show. I set up my guitarist this morning, and I mean, I know he played the whole set before he came out to the interview. I mean, it's motivating, it always has been. And so that feels the same right now. I mean, I think I'm in better shape than now than I was back then. Just back then, I was just young and dumb and didn't care. So I, say I did a lot of dumb stuff, but we all party like fools.
What do they say? The more things change, the more they stay the
They stay the
same.
same, right?
Yeah, but I've learned how to pace myself, as I get older, and because we are very serious about what we do, but nothing's really changed as far as the interaction with the people.
It just becomes more spiritual towards the end.
It really
You
does.
don't have that spiritual kind of.
I'll tell you what's
when you're a
changed.
kid.
Bottom line for me, I'll never ever take anything for granted ever again in my entire life. And that is refreshing. Back then, I was learning how, I had to learn the difference of illusion and delusion, of being a rock star in Arsenal. And it was a 2-year education that I'll never forget. And now it's just very, very grateful. I don't say humble because, man, we're bringing it hard and it's going to really take off. But very grateful, that we're still able to do all this. And I think the vision's still there. The visuals over the last 6 months have changed quite a bit. We're bringing our A game, and we're spending some money on new outfits, and trying to keep up with the Joneses is one thing, but we got to be able to, in order for everybody else to take it seriously, we take it seriously. We want to perform. Like you're saying, he knows how to work a camera. It's like I used to tell people, it's like, this is going on your permanent record, so dress for success. If you want to dress that way for tonight's show, just remember all the photographers are going to capture you that way for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No, that usually makes people put on a decent shirt or whatever it is,
Pictures are like they say
Worth 1,000
worth
words.
1,000 words, or it's like that is what's going out there, and that's what you're going to be remembered by. So, it does speak volumes on what you're.
Well, I'm kind of wondering about, talking about then to now is how is your music? I mean, obviously you said you learn to play guitar now, but I mean, are you playing music now from then, or is everything you're playing now new?
The formula is still the same. I mean, I love the, cutting stuff up as far as all the samples. We call it industrial metal because it keeps us, allows us to use other different keyboards. Let's just say it, there's a bunch of purists out there on both sides of the fence on as far as that goes, but it really hasn't changed too much, except that I think we're getting better at it. Right now, we can come up with an idea and produce it pretty quickly.
Right.
I can't say that Torso has a pigeonholed style, but we do.
Right.
You know, it's got a little bit of everything. You know, like, you know, the stuff that I picked up along the way since back then is evolved as far as key lines and stuff. I got into like EDM for a good 10 years and harsh electronic
That's
music.
where that comes
You
from.
know, like the Suicide
Yeah.
Commandos and, you know, and all the bands that we got to play with, Combi Christ and
Infected
just
mushroom.
heavy, like dark
Hear them?
stuff, you know, Agonize, you know.
Can't think of
There's
that.
so many things that I got into, like on the electronic side of things, that like it really made me, I better start really learning guitar because
Mhm.
this is, you know, I didn't bring the real sophisticated drumming back into it until I moved up to Seattle about 8 years ago. And I met a kid that was like 22 years old that could play all that stuff, like Meshuggah, Gene Hoglan from Death, Strapping Young Lad. And so we bought a $2,500 electronic kit, and the guy would sit down and play, you know, like a Strapping Young Lad song or Gene Hoglan Death song, you know, just the best double bass drummer. Just, you know, Ross was his name, and he had a Doom cap on from the game Doom. He's a gamer.
Oh, wow.
He's just totally just like awkward as fuck. And then he just sit down on the drums and just like destroy
Amazing.
your mind. You know, like what the hell? So I started writing that way. I decided, well, I want a little bit of all that too. You know, I want like real serious drums. You know, that's what drives metal. You know,
Mhm.
and so I was able to start writing that way again and break out of my experimental phase with the electronic side. You know, like because I was definitely delving into that pretty deep, and at the time, you know, Torso's been through quite a few members in the last 20 years, let's just say. And with that said, every single one of them are
Have put their piece on it.
absolutely, you know, I mean, you know, the dynamics I had in the last lineup, this lineup right now is really strong, really experienced, and very serious. I mean, you know, bringing Jeremy into it was a missing piece of the puzzle for all of us, is to be able to just lock into our own parts, own our own parts, and focus back on the fun stuff again, which is the
Mhm.
performance, looking good, feeling good, and interacting. This, I can't say this enough. That's something that hasn't changed since the 90s, is the interaction with the crowd and the people.
Mhm.
It's so important. You know, he brought it up to a point. And I mean, we used to, back in those days, we called it interactive hardcore. That was our signature, like, byline, you know, for Torso. And we bring Cage, they will come. We had plenty of dancers, but plenty of people that were wanting to be part of something and want to be part of the show. And when you start giving them a platform to do that, people react to that. I mean, everybody, you know, like, look at people like in town here. I mean, Kerber, you know, Charla, and these people are involved, and it's so important.
Mhm.
And right now, with Torsos, that part hasn't changed a bit, except that now, like I was saying, I'm not taking stuff as for granted. I don't think most people are at the point in the game. If you're still in the game, by the way, you know, we all experienced a real heavy sense of mortality over the last couple of years. So with that said,
For
this is
sure.
what we chose to do with it.
Right.
And, you know, we're in this all together, right? So like that right there hasn't changed one bit.
Could have went the serial killer route.
I could have. Oh, which I guess Kevin did mention about my book. I wrote a screenplay called Torso Killer, and you'll see plenty of serial killer shit.
That's
and
why
all
you
that.
brought that up.
Yeah, Torso Killer is the name of
Nice.
the screenplay, a movie, the whole 9 yards. I'll give you the elevator pitch on that a little bit later as we produce it. The Torso right now is, you know, we finally got some T-shirts, we got stickers.
I need a sticker.
I need
Yes,
a t-shirt.
I know you do.
Wait, honey,
Stickers
sorry, honey. I didn't mean to say I need a t-shirt.
So we have all that stuff. We just need a really good merch person. By the way, we are anybody who wants to get involved with merch, show up. And I mean, you got to work the table though. You got to be able to work the table.
How about the new song we're doing? The cover.
Oh yeah, we're doing a cover with this set of outside of the normal set of Torso music that we've been performing.
Is that the practice you guys had last night? Then?
Yes. So we're doing Psalm 69. Excuse me.
That would be
Psalm
awesome.
69 by Ministry. And Bill, the singer from Show Me God, started bugging me a little bit a couple weeks ago. Said, "Hey man, are we gonna like? Do you want to do something for your show? Do you want to like do a little something, you know?" And I'm like, yeah, I do. And then so like I started looking. I had a MIDI file of Psalm 69 by Ministry, so I was able to remix the song, and it happened to be in the same tuning that we could adjust to pretty quickly. So that started developing about 2 weeks ago, and I remixed it in a few days. And I got Bill from Show Me God and Eddie from Blessed Be Thy Name singing all the verses for that. Yeah. So while the band is killing it and it's so fucking fun. It's kills.
Well, I could see that
It kills.
guys fitting. I could see that song fitting you guys.
Oh man,
Perfect.
so, it's so epic.
yeah,
Yeah, that
family.
epic orchestra horror feel of the end of the world, and we're producing the soundtrack for it. Song, and so a lot of Torso music is kind of based on that, and to be honest, and it is a 30-year anniversary of the release of the album as well. So we started tagging Ministry in all these last couple posts for last week, and all the posts, and I got a few new friend suggestions from that band camp. It's a big deal. I mean, back in the day when music was dangerous, it was dangerous. Like Al Jorgensen was on FBI's most watched list because he harassed, Bush Senior so much with NWO and all the, he stole all these samples, and it was just like there's a really big deal for Ministry, which is the band. They were dangerous, and it was like, and it shows in their music, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's only appropriate that it just kind of fell in our lap that it worked out this way, but I have to tell you that it smashes, right? I mean, he's having a ball, dude. I mean, he's just like stepped right up on.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, Jeremy really did nice for just not playing at all and then just popping up and doing his job.
I mean,
He holds
how
it
many
down.
people do you know go from not ever being in a musician
Right.
to being in a freaking major band?
I know the guy
right from
the
the
bass player
get-go.
from U2 did it.
Huh?
Bass player from U2 did it. He never played bass, never did music until that first album.
That's like,
Wow.
that's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
people dream. I mean, hell, we got people, trying to get into the music scene. So they hit us up for a
Years.
battle of the band just so they can get their foot in the door,
Yeah.
or to get more gigs. And here Jeremy just kind of be like, Psh.
Walks right in.
Yeah.
Well, we had
People
a
are
discussion. Is that, I didn't tell these guys, as far as I started talking about Jeremy to these guys and him and Chris, was, like we were gonna hold auditions, none of that stuff fucking stuff,
Sucks.
I didn't, I try to plug somebody from the top end, top end, to what we were like, or to be able to show somebody how to play the songs and then have them add to it,
Mhm.
the way he has, we're really lucky. I think all of us, like I said, we live really close to each other, so he can come over and it's convenient. It's a
Mhm.
family dynamics for the kids. He's got, how old is
She's alive in Chelsea.
Chelsea and little Joey, big Joey, little Joey is his sons. So it's a family dynamics. I feel really good about the dynamics right now with it, more importantly than anything. So it seems easy now. It seems a lot easier now.
It's not like work.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, I mean and it's just really
I can't imagine working for it.
no, it shouldn't be like that.
It's
I mean,
hard
back
enough
when we were
doing
young
it.
and dumb, we really did have to try in order to bust our ass. We're out there flying cars at everybody else's shows,
Right.
Mhm.
going down to the Xerox store and down to the library, use their photocopier, whatever it took.
Yeah.
Whatever it took.
Well, I think it's awesome that that you're open to that and gave him a chance, and brought
He's
him in.
amazing. I told him straight up, I like you as a person.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've been playing for 3 months. Once you learn a whole set of music, you won't be a beginner anymore.
Right.
And it's true. He's not a beginner anymore.
Well, it's a good thing too, than bringing someone in who doesn't have experience, so to say, just for the fact that you can kind of, I don't want to say mold
Mold 'em.
Oh,
your
yeah,
way,
that's
but
what I
yeah,
like,
yeah, it doesn't feel like
teach
that with
him.
him.
Right. Well, that's
You
what I'm
know.
saying, but teach him.
I mean, my most
Your
recent
music as
ex-wife,
so to
Shelly, she
Yeah.
played keyboards in Torso for 12 years.
Yeah,
She played with some of the best keyboard players in the world, like Lawrence Bassett. Same thing.
I think her spirit's pretty much part
She was
of
a
it.
natural, just, she learned how for what Jeremy brought to the table. He already knew physical memory. He knows how to work a camera. He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to work people. And I just told him straight up, I like you as a person, I mean, and just give it a try. And
How
I mean,
can you
he,
not like him?
right?
I mean, he's just like.
I'm not trying to take credit for anything
No,
because
but
he
I-
did
you
all
know.
the work. But he learned how to play with the pick in January.
Yeah, I didn't play with it when I was first learning. I didn't mess with the pick. I actually didn't want to because I was all hung up on the bass players don't use pick shit. But when I went over to his house to learn like the first song that we sat down to learn, like he's like, dude, just try it. You got to try it with a pick because like it's fast. You know, it's too fast. I mean, I probably could have kept going. I could have been stubborn and kept going, but like, and it was hard. It was hard to learn to play with a pick because that's what was hanging me up
on the
on the guitar.
Yeah.
And that's what, honestly, well, that and you got six strings instead of four. So now it's even more I got to get in between. And the picks, what was pissing, the main part of what was pissing me out or frustrating me, I should say, to where it's like, I don't want this thing. You know what I mean? And like, so, but I was like, you know, he won't, and I don't know how I'm trying to say this, but he wanted me to try it or suggested. And so I did. And, that first day when I learned that first song, you know, I went home, I took it home with me, and all I did when I got home was, you know, get right back to it. And there was certain like riffs in the song that I would do over and over again with the pick. So I had to not just learn these songs, but I had to learn to play with a pick at the same time. Right. So like, and I would literally for hours, one riff. It was so fucking hard at the beginning. I'm like, God, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, I just got to keep trying. It'll get easier. And fucking now it's easy. Like what I'm trying to do.
You've learned a couple cover songs. You learned Black Magic.
Yep.
Slayer. And then now what? Psalm 69 by Ministry.
And I've learned Ice. I've played Ice Earth Damien as well, which is a very long song. I've played that song, not out, but I played it amongst myself and whatnot. But, I played some other songs too that aren't metal that are easy, like your Rick James and shit like that. It never changes. It's the same kind, you know. But I mean, like that was some of my early stuff that I learned to play to get the
rhythm going.
Yeah, to get the idea of how this works. Like, it's one thing to like play notes and put them together properly, but it's the putting them on the roadmap and turning when you're supposed to turn and all that. You know, that part of it. And I was just starting to learn that aspect of it when I got with Eamon, like officially we got together to do it. And then it started really like making sense. And it's funny because like, I don't remember, I can't remember who it was that told me, but they said, once you start getting around other musicians, it's going to speed up. And they were 100% right. Like it did, like my learning, and I still have a lot to learn. And like, dude, the other day, Bill grabbed my bass on Sunday and like just started going off and on. And these guys were outside and they're like, "That's not anything I heard him play before." Like,
Well, Bill from Show Me God is quite.
And I'm like,
impressive,
and I'm like, yeah, that definitely wasn't me, but fuck, I wish it was. Like, I want to, like, I just
really good.
like I'm not there. Like, I fuck around and make up some stuff, but like I'm just not there yet to like
to make your own.
Be so quick about it. I'm very slow. Like,
Well,
I almost some of the stuff that I do like amongst myself, and even when we're like warming up and stuff, is like very doom metal type stuff because that's where my brain's at. Like really like slow, like
He's starting to get that improv thing down to a
like,
science though. I mean, they were going off together the other day. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, he's starting to like catch up with the improv. And that's one of the hardest things to do, be able to just like out of your head,
just go to it.
You got to do it good all the
No,
time.
but look at the support group we got in town. I mean, all of our favorite bands, Sectus and Empire Desire and Dawn of the Rising. And I mean, these are, you know, God, I could just keep going on and on. Meganura and oh my God, you know, Pat from St. Madness is one of my oldest friends too. And Scott Rowe, of course. You know, these are my people. This is our family. We all support each other. I mean, I probably know more of Scott Rowe's lyrics than he knows of Torso lyrics, but I'm going to work him. I'm going to work him a little bit, you know, get him out of his box, you know, but you know, but like the support that he's gotten as a player as well, you know, like, I mean, you know, Joey can play anything he sets his mind to as a drummer, you know, I mean, he has this library of songs that they all learned back in the day that they can still sit down and play together, just hundreds of songs, you know, cover songs, right? but like, we've been kind of challenged Joey a little bit with pushing him on the drums as well. I mean, Chris, our other guitar player, knows every Sabotage song ever written. He is a metal player. I mean, so he's also like a library. He was in a Rush cover band for a while there on guitar. But like we really challenged each other. He made short work out of it. You got good discipline and stuff like that. And I mean, but the dynamics is really like solid. I love the natural progress that we're making right now.
There's a chemistry going on.
Yeah, we're not trying
Right
too
in front of
hard,
us.
but we're really enjoying it. The Ann Fest was over the top. Thank you, Ann and Deb and, Jim for making that all happen for us. I mean, just incredible, exposure and to not only our peers, but the community at large. I mean, I hadn't met like 1/3 of those people that hang out at the 44 until that night. And now I know I've met at least everybody at once.
There was like a lot of
You know?
faces there that I've
Yeah,
never seen, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of, we're not overwhelmed by it. We're not nickel and diming ourselves to death either. Back in the day, we would take a Tuesday night, the Mason jar, just hope for a better gig later type of thing. Luckily we're not having to do that right now. We're very fortunate, that people are supporting us the way that they are. I mean, you all, it's just amazing what you do for the community at large. But as far as what it's doing for Torso right now, it's a big deal for us.
Well, I think when everybody kind of comes together and works well together, it makes it easier for everybody involved, and it makes it more fun, instead of all of us like
I know,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
so much,
it's like-
yeah.
it's just, who wants to be a part of that? It's just like, just do our thing, So, one last thing I wanted to ask you is though, like to describe the concept of Torso, like how did the name come about? And
Okay.
do you know what I'm, yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
do. That's part of the movie. The movie is called Torso Killer. Back in the day, like some in the 80s, I did a little bit of LSD when I was 15. Not much, a few times, right? And I never did any other synthetic drugs since. I honestly have not touched anything chemical wise since because it affected me so profoundly. But I started having reoccurring nightmares and sleep paralysis and night terrors. And I had 5 reoccurring nightmares. One of which where there was a torso in a closet. I was being haunted by the man and a demon. Right. So I had, so all this stuff sounds very familiar because everybody has to go through this at least once in their life. It's very a Nietzsche approach to life. What I did was in 1996, when I started Torso, I wrote down everything that profoundly happened to me in my entire life as a kid, mostly my dreams. I learned how to fly when I was a kid. My mom was a pothead. So I would catch a contact high in the circle of people and then like have flying dreams, right? So long story is that here I am in my early 20s and I'm having these night terrors and about the man and a torso in a closet and a demon, right? And I never forgot it. So like later, fast forward 20 years later, I wrote it all down as a biography. I didn't care. It's just paragraph after paragraph in the order that I remembered as far as the youngest thing that I could remember as a child. And then I just ended up with these 5 reoccurring nightmares with this particular character in my dream. And I call him the man or the hat man. There's a lot of stuff going on at that time as far as people having the same, like dreams. And Last in Line was just released, and I saw the beast with the red eyes. I think a lot of it was subliminal. And a lot of it was like mental imprinting off the stuff that we were being suggested to, like, suggestive lyrics or heavy metal music, whatever it might have been. But it was my experience, it was my journey of like my own, like my own demons. So I had to learn how to slay my own demons and stuff like that. With that said, I fast forward to like 1996, where I decided to call the band Torso based on that dream that I had with a torso in a closet. I'm not going to give it away because,
That's part of
again,
everything
20,
else.
20 years later, I took a screenwriting course because I'm involved, I do movies for a living now. So like I wrote the screenplay Torso Killer, and I used the 5 reoccurring nightmares as a turning points in the movie. And also the Torso Killer is associated with Jack the Ripper and the actual Cincinnati torso killing. So plenty of serial killer shit involved with this. But I kind of threaded it all into my own like coming of age rock and roll story of Torso. So that's how the concept came out. Was basically came right out of a dream based on something that I'd seen that like completely terrified me when I was younger.
And that's
Like
crazy
horrible.
that you could actually bring that into
Yeah.
being a part of who you are now,
Well,
of something that actually terrorized you.
well, the Nietzsche thing, I'm a believer in light. I breathe in the light, I let out, breathe in the good, out the bad. And, that was my secret weapon. And, that's how I got through it and the shadows and stuff. I was able to like literally do that. And I wanted to I taught and helped a lot of other people get over night terrors and things like that because of that. But the thing that impacted me, the band named Torso, is a collaboration of Seth Mayer and I were talking about it. And I read him that passage from my dreams. And so that's where it started, like 1996. And, the Torso Killer thing is just like, you wait till you see this screenplay. It's really intense. I haven't even really dumped that on him. For most people, it's just so much to absorb, all the moving parts in this, but it's like, and to like modernize it and use the modern branding that we're doing now, versus like when we started in 1996, the band, like I would love to include all of it, but I was able to fictionalize it into a screenplay called Torso Killer, and a lot of people are going to read it like as a fictional, and where I experienced it. It was my journey, it was where I had to face my shadow self, and I had to actually like whatever, slay that dragon or, defeat the demon or whatever it was that I did. And you know what? I moved down to Arizona to do that. I became really involved with the native cultures, and I learned how to dance on the wheel and animal totems with Native American beliefs. I was never a church going boy, they tried, but it didn't work for me. And so I found that I came down here to face my fears, and you know what? I haven't had a nightmare since.
Nice.
Like an Arsenal was a big turning point where I learned how to just not be afraid, and
Let go.
yeah, I was always a fighter and a survivalist, and all that other stuff, but that fear that most of us carry with us, like being able to like overcome that was that's why I continue the way it was. I moved back to Denver in 2003, and I was at the last Ozfest, and Kerry King was there from Slayer, and I was hanging out with Goody at the Jägermeister tent doing shots with Dez from Coal Chamber, and Kerry King rolls up in a little golf cart and comes out, and we started doing shots at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And he asked me, so what's up with Torso? And just like that, and I'm just like,
You remember?
I said, I just did a show at the Gothic Theater, and I called it Breach, as in breach of contract. He goes, you got to call it Torso. Just like that, Kerry King. After I wanted to give it all up, after I left out of Arizona in 2003, I didn't want to give it up completely, but so you straight up, you have to call it Torso. And I had Rob Halford tell me the same thing. I meet a lot of people, but I always remembered your name, Eamon. So why not, right? I mean,
When you got big names like that saying something to you.
Yeah.
no, and to this day, I truly believe that we are contenders. We want to make a living off of this. And in order to do that, we have to spend the next year developing this to make a living off of it.
So
to do international festivals,
that's
to
next-
live the dream, right? So in order to live the dream, which is a song of ours, by the way, which is about the Torso Killer. Sorry, it's not that kind of dream. Yeah, that's really it.
So your goal is to go national, tour,
Yep.
or at least tour states or internationally.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're getting ready to like produce some finished material soon. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and
Mhm.
I'm sure he'll be okay with it. But Byron from Villain Recording, the guitar player from Pelvic Meatloaf, and I had talked about him tracking some of our guitars and bass stuff, and because he's the best at it in town, as far as I'm concerned. And so we're probably going to at least do 3 songs, 3 music videos right away. Like I said, I work in the video movie industry, so our music videos are going to be really over the top. I mean, we got to get some songs done right now, 3, 6 songs, 9 songs, 12 songs. We have an album. But in order to start shopping for a label, like again, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I love the natural progression, but that's the end game. I had the same conversation with Mike from Show Me God. He's like, what's your end game, dude? He's like, same as you, I want to live the dream, it's always to travel around the world and say, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I played in front of all these people in Germany or wherever,
Mm-hmm.
and down in Mexico, I did that. And right now we are hoping to attract some serious attention from people in the industry. I mean, a lot of bands aren't getting signed, these days, and there isn't a lot of money being put out there. But where is all that money that all these big bands made and all the labels made over the last 25 years? They better start paying attention, because Arizona's bringing it hard. I can name 12 bands that need to get signed right the fuck now.
Yep, I agree.
And no,
It's crazy.
No, I'm not joking. No.
I know, but I mean,
Torso's one of them for sure.
Right. And it's like we talk about it all the time, and it's like it's just insane how
the talent that's here is just
the talent here is just amazing, and it's like I don't even remember it being anything close to this, like, or it wasn't even like this back then, from the 80s until now, and it's like I wasn't even here pretty much through the 90s. I lived in Idaho, but coming back here, after I retired, I finally get back into the music scene. And so, right now I'm living my dream. This is always something that I've always wanted to be a big part of my life, is to be more involved with the whole music thing. Back in high school, I thought, well, maybe I'll go, me and my cousin talked about going to Florida and going to school for doing sound, or we'll be roadies or whatever, we didn't, not the groupie kind of thing. We wanted to be involved in the music. So
I never pondered it.
no,
I
photography
love
was my
music so
thing.
much, but it's like I never even thought about it.
But it's
So
kind
you're
of
like, you and me can relate a lot on that aspect.
Yes.
Yeah. And I did the photography, but it's like, no, it's like, I don't know, but I like this. I like what we're doing. You know what I mean? And for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, it's like I've been trying to put my ideas out there of how I wanted to do what we're doing right now, and no one would, work with me on it. So it was just like brush me off, and I'm like, okay, now we're gonna do what we've been wanting to do, and it seems to be working.
It's so important that you do.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing up so many and exposing so many bands to so much, especially the new bands coming up. It's priceless. I mean, who else is
Well,
going?
nobody gives
Oh
them
my
a chance.
gosh. Yeah, that's the thing.
So it's like,
None
why
of the
not?
venues won't give them a chance because they don't have an EPK. If they don't have any,
They don't have a
li-
following either.
If there's no following, there's no videos of them performing. Well, how are they gonna have any videos of them performing if
you don't
no
give
one
them a
lets them
shot.
perform?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's like, okay, you need that exposure. Come do Battle of the Bands, because then we're gonna video you. You're gonna get your exposure. And then when another band's going, hey, do you know of any bands that blah blah blah? You think that would go good with this? I get hit up by Icky Stain. He'll ask me, and I'll send him a name, and then boom, next thing you know,
Yeah, he's
these
another one
bands-
that likes to bring up bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
really
people-
good about that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Scott Rowe too. I mean, and Brian
Yeah.
Mogul. I mean, I can just go on and on, but like these people are working so hard for everybody else,
Mhm.
and we all reap the benefits of our community this way. And without Scott and Mike from Show Me God, I mean, honestly, they really gave me a goal to shoot for and to reform the band and like book a show. I mean, you know, and that was it.
Well, it's
And
like,
that's all it took for me to get motivated again. You know, I've been,
Mhm.
as most people have been through a lot in the last couple of years.
yeah.
You know, in the last couple of years, I'm really fortunate to be where I'm at today. You know, but yeah, man. But
Well,
it's real important.
it is.
I think that, and the more the better. I mean, that we used to, like I was saying, the interactive hardcore was like just famous for like having people lining up because they want to get involved.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like bands that want to get a chance. We want to be given a chance too,
Right.
just to kind
Very
of
good at it. So
get out there and help the bands. And we're working for you guys to
We don't make squat.
very little.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
we,
But I mean, it's
haven't
like
made much.
the
Yeah.
it's all we're all in the same boat here. But we're trying to get out too, and now we're getting we're actually getting approached
Yeah.
by other bands, and now the word's starting to get out and people are reaching out to us and wanting to know, how can we get interviewed? How can we get on one of your shows?
When are you gonna
to-
do a show?
I
Yeah.
work with 1,000,001 producers and 1,000,001 podcast people, 1,000,001 people in the press. And I have to say right now that most people, the first thing that comes in their mind, especially the business-minded people, are how do I monetize this? I've noticed that you are slowly but surely, like you're selling your T-shirts. That's the only way you're monetizing anything.
For the most
And I'm sure you
part.
probably, still haven't broke even on that.
No.
That's the
Well,
real deal.
maybe even
That
that's what
right
it
there is
does.
the real deal.
Which
Same,
is-
Now we're
Yeah.
just waiting
Yeah.
for the profit. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you
sell
know,
the t-shirts.
But no, you're obviously not doing it for the money.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the point, I guess. I mean, we're
yeah,
not
we don't
either.
make anything
but
going bad on the
it'd be
bands.
nice if we could make a living, pay our bills, so we could do what we love.
Right.
That is the truth.
I mean,
You
heck,
know?
if I could get 1,000 subscribers just on YouTube, I could, I could start monetizing in some way. You know what I mean? I think that's how many you have to have. But yeah, I mean, there's like something for everything. And same thing probably with Facebook. I don't know how all that works, but we just got to build our.
Yeah, I'm working with a guy that's doing a show right now, and he's a mover and a shaker. He studies analytics all day long, and he monetizes this and ad space that, and it's like a time and a half job. You're working time and a half all the time just in order to do that. But like back to the music community / industry, like what you're doing on a local level is amazing. And on a national level, people are paying attention. When I was in Seattle deciding I was going to come down here, I was looking at, stalking all y'all on Facebook. I had Scott introduce me to Christian Vasquez because I was so starry-eyed. I didn't know how to actually approach him and have him introduce me to Christian the first time, because I was like, man, I've been watching your videos for like a year and a half, dude.
Yeah.
Same
And
with
the thing
Ray.
of it is he's so down to earth. And it's like, yeah, we were kind of like that too. I mean, Trevor was huge. Like, oh my God, that's sexist,
Yeah, I know.
And
right?
because I remember like the first time we met them, and it's like, man, they're so nice. Everybody is like so cool once you like get to know him. No one has like this big ego, or like they're untouchable. You can't talk to them.
Yeah.
Everybody's really like just normal people, and that's what makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
When everybody's just like, hey, you know what? We're all the same.
Yep.
By the way, it's Kristen's birthday today, so happy
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday!
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I might as well. All right, so there's
Uh,
a bunch of birthdays this week, okay? And my birthday's Monday. I'm not
Aw.
trying to like plug it yet.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo. August 1st is mine. Christian's today. I know he's a Leo. I should have known to begin with.
Charlotte
And
just had a
August
birthday.
2nd is Rich Formey from Pelvic. I know you guys are watching, Rich. I know you're in Hawaii, but don't mess around, dude. Rich Formey is August 2nd. So there's so many birthdays in July / rolling into August. So this is a special weekend. Tomorrow night's show, I'm going to definitely try not to spend too much time focusing on the birthday thing, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of, we just overcame a really hot week or two. I think everybody's pretty freaking burnt on like everything,
Yeah.
So we went out and checked out Zach Wild and Anthrax on and Hatebreed
Tuesday.
on Tuesday
That was
night, and
great.
Oh, you
I
went?
kicked my
Oh,
ass,
yeah.
dude. I was so freaking tired,
Yeah,
you know. But man, I don't regret a
it
thing.
was a good
you know?
time, man. It was good, yeah.
Yeah, that play, was that with the, what was it? I think that was the same thing. It was like really, really, really crowded. It was
Oh,
at that
it was
at
Van
the Van
Buren.
Buren.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
sold
yeah.
out. It was.
Oh my God. It was like
It
a
was-
sea of
it was
people
hot and
from what I
fucking-
saw that.
Yeah, it was hot and humid in there.
There was no air in there.
Oh,
It was all right. I was up on the floor. It was all right. I was like right underneath the fan. We were in the back to start with, and I was like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, because I was with my brother-in-law and one of my kids and his fiance. So I was like, I'm going up front, take some pictures. We got up there. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I was in the back sweating my ass out. I'm like, this sucks, man. I don't like this place anymore. That's one of my favorite places to go see.
I
Remember
like
those
that
shows
place.
at the Coliseum?
That was my first time.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I didn't realize how
Those
many
were
people
shows.
actually could fit in there. When
Yeah.
I went there, it was for the Fatal Malady.
Fatal Malady played that day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the
Metal Allegiance.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, and it was just like I didn't realize it was that big. You know, there wasn't that many people there then. I think it was still. Was it before COVID, maybe, or
It was
after?
before COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was crazy. But yeah, see if there's anything else. No regrets. Victor Barclay. I
How
don't
do you
know.
see that live chat? You just
Yeah.
Post your YouTube link on your live interviews. I didn't see it on Facebook. Yeah, well, if you just search Rockin' Free Live on YouTube, you should be able to find us, and you know you can't miss our.
All right, Victor's on board.
But yeah, I'll post the link.
Who is Psycho Steel plays?
Hmm?
Who is Psycho Steel plays?
I don't know. But yeah, so
So, question.
I think it is. It's a rock band.
but
It says they're the child of the person with the long beard.
I'm lost. It must be on a YouTube comment, huh?
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh,
as a child of the person, is it your kid?
Not me.
I don't got a long beard.
Right.
Shit, I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, it's.
Let's see. Then.
I think it's you.
Oh,
talking
man,
about.
My kid is at home
It's on
probably
YouTube,
playing his
though.
bass.
Cycle
Or it
still
should.
plays, and it has
Hey,
a
there's Sage. Hey! Fucking Sage.
great interview. Thank you. All right, so I have to say this was very enlightening
Oh,
as
so
far as
I'm
like,
the child, something he said. I just see it pop up.
Yeah, how
I-
long have we been
the
talking
whole.
about?
It's been an
Hour
hour.
and a half.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I think I talked for 10
almost
minutes alone.
hour. You talked for 20.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, you're good.
But
I was
you know
afraid
what?
I was going to talk
But
way
this
too
one,
much about the
it's
old school
good
shit.
because
I
even
liked
if
it.
it
It was
goes
good to
over an
listen to.
hour, it's fine because if there's good stuff to talk about, and like I said, this was very enlightening for me because just knowing the whole background of how Torso came about, your story coming into becoming a part of Torso, not being a musician, coming into a band that's been around a long time, and to get in like that's freaking amazing.
We all had to overcome so much to get to where we are at
Yeah.
right now. And I mean, him personally,
Mhm.
and him personally.
But how many
don't
people do
even
you know that move into a new state and just fit in the way that you have? You know what I mean? It's just like you just belong.
Right.
It's just like, you know, I mean, you just know when you do.
Yeah, it's I can't even put it into words. I tell like some of my closest friends all the time, and they know who they are, and I mean I'm cool with everybody, you know, so many people that I've met, but I mean there is close friends, the earliest people that I've met, and it's pretty much the EOD camp and the Sectus camp.
It's a vibrational
And
thing.
outside of,
Vibrate, it's a circuit frequency.
yeah,
Everybody vibrates,
yeah, and
you know.
it's not even, you know, because they're bands and I like them. It has nothing to do with that. It's that I met them on a personal level before I
Before you
see them
even
play.
think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't
Well,
seen Sectus play till fucking they opened for Soulfly, but I had already met Christian and I actually met Runaway. I bought my ticket from him at Tempe Tavern. We met up, you
It's
know,
hilarious.
like,
It's first
and
time I
like,
met
but the
him.
thing is, like, these are some of my closest friends, and like, it just like happened. Like I met Ken and Tulin at that Death Angel show, and like, you know, they could have just been like, "Oh, cool, nice to meet you, man. Welcome,
walk
you know,
away.
welcome. You know, you're from North
Mhm.
Dakota, cool. You know, and just like,
Yeah.
you know, walked away. And I wouldn't have thought anything
Yeah.
bad of it. I just would have been
Right.
like, "Oh, I'm here to see fucking Death Angel. I'm meeting
Yeah.
people." But it was like, it was different, man. It was like, this is just like,
But I tell you what,
this
music,
is so like, you know, like it was like welcome with open arms type of thing, and
Mhm.
like,
but that's music in
yeah,
general.
absolutely.
Because I like went to Rocklahoma in Oklahoma, okay? And you just meet people there because everybody's there for the same reason.
Exactly.
Everybody's having a great time. And what brings people together more better than music?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a common interest, and everybody just has a good time, no matter what.
Kind
And
of
if they're not, that's their problem.
vibing on that frequencies.
Yeah.
That's
And so it's good energy,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I like the
So-
positive creative energy for sure, you know.
Mhm.
Kind of touched on it a little
But
bit.
yeah, so I mean, this was like great. I loved learning about the background to the whole concept of torso, and why your music is so deep and like the whole EDM stuff.
Yeah.
It makes makes
Yeah.
sense to me now.
So
You know, because that was the first time I
Sure.
saw you was at the rooms the last time when your first show, your first time on stage. And I was like, whoa, this is like,
it's a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
It is
And I
a lot.
For the first time,
Yeah.
like the first time seeing you guys, I was just like, oh my God.
And I literally just learned those songs like month and a half prior to.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I was talking about earlier with learning the pick, like that was all like learned within a matter of like 2 months.
But you know what?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it was just like, I remember like getting there. We got there hella early. We were there super early, which is fine by me. I like to be early. I'm one of those people
Well, we
that
were all outside.
Yeah.
and everybody kept asking me, "Are you nervous?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "You're not?" And I'm like, "Not really. I mean, like,
It's just
you know,
Because
whatever
you know
thing."
why? Because you know everybody.
Well, and it's
And
not only that. I
everybody
knew it was just like I was walking through the curtain again to my entrance music, and it was time to go.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like I already knew.
Yeah.
Like I already knew
Been
how
there,
to.
done that.
To a point, like as far as like being in the mindset
That
of like it's
mindset,
almost
yeah.
go time and like
Yeah.
the clock's ticking, you know, and
Yeah.
you know the music's gonna hit and it's gonna be time to walk through the curtain kind of
Right.
mentality. That's it's the same aspect, you know, like except for the only difference is I'm doing a different move set versus
Right.
body slamming people. I'm
Slamming that
this,
bass.
I'm hitting this string in this area
Slamming that
or wherever
bass.
the hell I'm at on it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing though. It's
Yeah.
just different. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, you
It's the
know,
same thing, but it's different. you
the
know?
what's cool though is now I like to see you perform. I'll have a whole different visual and different mindset hearing your music.
Well, that's good.
You
And,
know.
and it's only getting better. We're just adding to it. I mean, we have video backdrops for all of our songs, so we'll be able to like actually display that a little bit more with the torso branding tomorrow
Blocked
night.
out, so to say.
Yeah, so like we're like I was saying that we like the natural progression, but we're ready to step up,
Yeah.
and we want to like get in with the 13 floor entertainment, so we can start getting some national gigs on the bigger stages, and also play our local faves in between, and just kind of live this for a while, but like.
So what time do you guys go on tomorrow night?
We're going on last, and so I want to say safely 10,
Okay.
maybe 11.
Yeah.
But, Yeah,
Depends
so
on-
something like that. There's 5 bands. What is it? So what is the list of the bands? I don't want to have to like break that down.
Yeah.
Well, you got
I don't conform. in-
Detroit Rocco and
Alright, so-
the Accelerators, Dare to Know, Trixie and the Misfit Toys.
Thank you.
And I don't.
I don't conform.
Yes,
You guys.
got it. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So I don't want to mess that up.
Um,
But yes, we're all looking forward to it. I mean, incredible. There's so much talent, like you said, in this valley. It's just unbelievable, and so good to be able to like pick from 20, 30 different bands,
play
just
with.
to like go and hang out with and play with on a regular basis,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, it's like
one
with
nice
us, we don't
special.
like to, we don't want to really try and book like the same bands over and over, and it's like there's so many that play out a lot, and we would rather get ones that don't
Aren't
play
playing
out a
a lot.
lot, and try to get those.
Well,
guys.
Mike came to me with the idea of doing this, for us to be headlining the show, that he had this idea for the show at the Rooms, so he could rebrand the whole property, that as a business and actually as a venue.
Yeah.
So we get to be the beta monkey testers for this test on the Rooms tomorrow night. So everybody please show up.
Yes.
Pack
bring
this
your
place.
water.
Bring lots of water. BYOB, I think there's a food truck, right?
There's beer
I
too.
gotta work on that. No, actually, I had
there's
to
not?
cancel all that.
All right,
so
so
it
so
is
is it-
BYOB
it's
now.
bring your own
BYOB.
BYOB. All
Yeah.
right, so BYOB
And
and
BYOF.
lots of water. please.
Yeah. Well, no, I need to actually message her about the food truck again
Okay,
because I've been working on Mike with this for the last
I see. Okay, yeah,
month, 6 weeks now, and
cool.
alcohol thing just didn't work out. It was
Is
just
that-
not.
No, it's
Yeah,
there's a
so-
lot of problems with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so definitely BYOB. But the last couple shows we played there have been a blast. I mean, it's an amazing space, and really, like I said, just creative overload on the whole space and all the people that are involved with that place. So it should be a really good time. I mean, we got a lot of people that didn't come to the last one, so they'll probably expect
Come to this
a
one.
pretty good turnout for this for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well-
gonna be great.
We won't be there for the whole beginning, but because we got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, and then we have to deliver some furniture to somebody, and so then we'll go. I think we can probably head over there after.
Cool.
So yeah, I definitely want to be there when you guys go on. So
Did Mike have a video crew hired for this?
I don't know. That was kind of up to his.
Yeah, so I think he's hired
do
a video
believe
crew
he-
to capture
yes.
the moment, and it's gonna,
He is
as a-
getting video for
in
the whole
addition
thing, I
to the
don't
video
know.
live
Yeah.
streaming that everybody else will be doing as well. So
Mhm.
so lots of coverage, lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
That was one of the main
So-
things for the show, is actually for a video to come in to
Yeah.
give video for everybody so you can see what the place is
Yeah.
like now for the rebranding, like you're saying. For
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the only thing that was hard. Like I tried live streaming there, the signal's not that great, and then so
There's just so
Yeah.
much stuff from them that your camera gets caught and everything. It focuses here and here.
the
and
lights.
here.
I think the biggest thing was all the flashing lights.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's hard to it messes with the lens on the
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Oh my God.
So that was the problem. with
Yeah,
that.
playing with Show Me God is definitely a creep show
Yeah.
to be reckoned with.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Well, before we go, I'm assuming your mom, Annette.
yeah.
Awesome interview. Can't thank you all enough for welcoming Jeremy with open arms. Can't wait to visit so you can watch a live show.
Yeah.
And one other thing is to bring up Focus TV.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
the new MTV of the now.
Of the indies, though,
Yeah,
not necessarily big stuff. So if you guys get
Where's
some
this at?
videos,
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Here?
that's next.
Yeah,
Friday.
they're
Is that
local.
local.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so if you do any videos and they're
Cool.
the professional sound in it,
Absolutely.
they will air it on Focus TV, which goes out internationally.
Yep.
You
Oh,
can
wow.
get the app on any of your app stores on your phone, and if you have a smart TV, Fire Stick, whatever, what was the other? Roku.
Yeah.
You can download the app on your TV, and you can stream Focus TV. All you have to do is if you get the app on your phone, I think.
Do it
Then
through
you-
the phone first. It was much easier.
Yeah, because then they'll send the email to you with your username, whatever,
Code.
to get in, and then you just use it to get on the TV.
So that's cool. So what's this called again?
Focus TV.
FOQUS.
So Focus TV, and I know that you're working with Mike from Yeti
Yeah.
Radio.
Mhm.
I mean, who's an amazing guy too.
Yeah.
So,
So-
again, all these people that are starting to take off.
And actually,
service
Dylan
bands.
Kinder, the drummer for Sectus, is
Is-
one of their VJs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
okay.
one of the VJs
Yeah,
from
For
Focus
Yeti.
TV.
Oh,
No,
for
Focus
VJs
TV.
for
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Great.
FOQUS
Yeah.
TV.
Okay.
And so yeah, we're all kind of
We've actually
Working
just been
together.
in contact with them for the last week, and they've been awesome with.
oh yeah,
advertising
they're
for us
promoting
right
us on
quick.
their
Yeah.
thing on
Cool.
their TV.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah,
We are
so we're all
definitely-
cross promoting each other.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and if you have any songs that you have out on MP3, send them to the Yeti
Yeti,
Radio at gmail.com, and he will play them. He has New Music Mondays from 8:30 to, I think, the first hour he plays new music, and then he'll focus on the shows that are coming up on the weekend. He'll play the bands that are playing. He'll play their music. And then so it's just all local stuff. It's awesome. It goes out internationally. He's got viewers from like Australia, New Zealand, so it's on Twitch. And it has a little chat room there too, so people communicate. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So between the three of us, we're looking to kind of help
the
boost
locals.
this.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And then Focus
That's so
TV
much.
has a lot of stuff that they're working on.
Well, they're in major cities throughout too. I was talking to them earlier, Chicago, LA, New York, and then they've also got stuff over in Europe. So
Yeah.
Great.
So they're
yeah,
like
it's amazing. Yeah, it's excellent.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's very motivating to go out and make a music video for
Yes.
sure. I cannot wait
Mhm.
for us personally. But no, it's an amazing platform for, like I say, up and coming bands that already been established, and I'm pretty excited about our future personally.
Mhm.
So, and like it's because of Rockin' Free Live and Yeti Radios and
Focus
you
TV.
know, Kerber the Skull Man.
Yeah.
Kerber!
Kerber, dude.
Fucking hope Kerber's there tomorrow night. I got a feeling he will be.
He probably would. Yeah.
So
But
it's
yeah,
just
there's so
better.
much good stuff, and it's only making the scene
Better.
that much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, a lot of good stuff coming, and it's definitely only getting better, and it gives me goosebumps.
I know, I do too.
Good.
It's nice to see you smile.
It's awesome. I mean, that's what gets us more excited, and we're
Yeah.
starting to branch out too. We have a show in Tucson, and then we're gonna work on trying to get Flagstaff, Prescott, maybe Havasu. So
Hell
because
yeah.
we don't want to be
There's
just Phoenix,
scene-
we want to be statewide.
Well, and there's scenes in
Yeah.
those communities that I went to a show, an EOD show up in Prescott Valley, and
mhm.
there's a fucking scene up there. And I
yeah,
know there's a scene up in like Kingman and Havasu up
Yeah.
in that area. I'm friends with quite a few people on Facebook that I've never met in person, but you just
Mhm.
meet through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and they
and,
all
like,
want to get here.
There's a scene
Yeah.
up there, and it blows my mind. Like they want to get here, but what I would love to do personally, and I don't know about everybody else, but I would love to go to these places.
No, we have to. Yeah.
And that's
And-
what
and
we're
it-
trying.
Yeah,
That's what we want to
Tucson,
try to do.
Prescott,
You know, so, like,
Flagstaff.
That's
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, that's to me. That's like
If we find a way to bring these bands here, then they can help us get.
Get there.
Get
Well, that's
there.
kind of
So-
like you just said Albuquerque. We just had the band come play this last
Mhm.
Saturday from Albuquerque.
Yeah, they
He
were
tells me
good.
you ever want to get there, just let me know. We'll
Yeah.
get you
Bingo, man.
connections.
Well,
We've got quite a
shoot.
following in
Adam
Colorado.
Spleen brings in a lot of bands
No,
from
he's amazing too,
outside
yeah.
too.
No, he's definitely he's a good brother too.
Mhm.
No, Adam. Yeah, the list goes on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So it's like,
I
yeah.
can
Keep
go
going,
on
yes.
about Adam though, man.
Yeah.
I love his show.
But I mean, it's like,
Definitely.
we all see what each other's doing. It's like, and so it's all good stuff,
Yeah.
Everything's going good. But anyway, it's been
A long while.
almost
That's all
2
right.
hours. Yeah.
Whatever.
So
Wow.
this is our longest interview yet.
Yeah,
and there's still people watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And that's just Facebook. We don't even know what's going on
On
on YouTube. What do you
Yeah.
got?
Thanks for having us.
Oh, so
Yeah,
Well,
thank
thank you guys
Yeah,
for
thank you.
coming.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty cool.
we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks,
sure.
man.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Amy and I have sat
So-
outside a few bars, talking about kind of what we've talked about today, but it's a little deeper today, obviously,
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was
thank
good.
you for letting me share that. I mean, I don't get to tell the full story, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's about overcoming those things,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
that's
it's
really
like
the
we never
concept.
really got to really talk. I mean,
I
you always
enjoy it.
seem pretty quiet when we're out. So, yeah, this has been.
Well, I mean, I was pretty shy the first. I went through a lot in order to get here. So that like a year ago, I was a different person.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
I mean, anytime you can turn a negative into a positive,
Positive,
you can't
yes.
beat it. It's the
Yes.
best thing ever.
Well, only positive energy in
Yeah,
this
that's
room.
right.
That's the way I like it.
I love it.
You know?
Yeah.
No negative, no negativity.
All
All right. All right, guys. Well, that's the wrap.
Woo!
When you want to watch the best music from the newest artists, you watch Focus TV, your only global music television network. No one plays more music 24 hours a day than we